Polymorphism, again, different kind of polymorphism called as operator overloading. Okay, I want to add two vectors. So what is one way to do that? I can have, I can write a function here, void I add, and what should I take as parameter? I want to add two vectors, right? So I should take another vector as a parameter, say v, and once I add two vectors, what should I return? I should return a vector. Okay. So this is my add function, and I'm going to add, I'm writing that function here. Okay. How should this function be? This is a new vector, let's say, right? So it's a new vector, and I want to set its values v2 to be, let me call it v2 to be x plus v dot x and y plus v dot y, right? I'm just adding that, and I'm going to return v2. It's clear? Okay. I just added, I'm adding two vectors now. This is clear. Okay, let me just, I'm going to remove all this. I'm going to create a new vector. Let's call it u, and it's going to take, it's going to, let's say, set to 3 5. So this is another way to call the constructor. Okay, so the new constructor we have created using polymorphism, I have just called it, I'm calling it 3 5 now. Okay, I am calling this second constructor using this notation. So when the vector u is created, it's going to set its values x and y to be 3 and 5. That's the aim. And let's have another vector z to be 0, 5. What should happen now? If I do, I want vector v is equal to u dot add of z. So I expect, if I do that and I do v print, I expect to see, I'm going to just, this is not required. The norm is now not required to be printed in the, when I want to print the vector, I don't have to see the norm. So I print the vector v. What do we expect to see? Let's look at the function. The function takes in a vector v, so z goes there, and z is copied to vector v, and v2 is a new vector, and it's set, its x and y are now set to x plus v dot x. So that is this z dot x, x plus, what is this x? This x is the x of u. Okay, and this y is the y of u. Okay, and this y is the y of z, and this x is the x of z. So it's basically both the x's are added and the y's are added, and you get the sum. So it's a vector sum. Something I had to, so I had to use dot here. It's not a pointer, and it worked. And let me run. Yeah, so it's printing 3 10. So it's correct. 3 plus 0 is 3 and 5 plus 5 is 10. I should get exactly that. Right, it's 3 10. It's correct. Okay, but this is, I want a different. So this is, I have added two vectors. It's all good, but I wanted a better notation. What is the standard notation for addition? I know the standard notation for addition. Standard notation for addition is plus. I want to use the plus notation here, and that's operator overloading. Overloading, I want to overload the operator called plus, right? And If I want to do that, I have to just type here operator plus. That's it. So the name, earlier it was the function name was called add. Now I just change it to operator plus, and this is supposed to overload. So it means I can now just write u plus z. Simple as that. It is like a primitive data type. So our primitive data types like int and float had this plus, and now I have my vector also has this plus. I compile and I'm going to type dot slash dot out. Yeah, it's addition, exactly like how we expect it to be. It's clear. We just had plus. Now do you want a dot product? Do you want a multiplication, which we can do by a dot product, which, so this is the multiplication, and I'm overloading the multiplication operator, and it's going to return the dot product of the vector. So in this case it's an int, it's going to be returned, right, because it's a dot product. It's going to return x into v dot x plus y into v dot y. Let's see that. Let me print that. So int y is equal to u star z. What's the dot product? It has to be 25, right? Because it's u into z is 25. And I'm going to print that dot product of u and z is percentage d comma y. I should have a column here. That's it. Let's do that. Compile. What is wrong here? Initially we had said that the multiplication vector is it returns a vector type, but I have now said it's returning an int type, so I just changed it back. I told the compiler that no, sorry, I was wrong. It's not returning a vector type, it's going to return an int type, and I just did that now, and it's good perfectly well. And I'm going to run it. The dot product of u and z is 25. This is what we said. 3 into 0 is 0, and 5 into 5 is 25. Good. We have now both addition and multiplication. I could have had plus plus. Let's say a vector operator plus plus, and it's okay. It's going to return a vector, and okay. What is it supposed to do? So let's say we will return the vector v, which is x plus plus comma y plus plus. It just increments the values of x and y, both incremented by 1. Okay, that's the vector. I'm going to return this v. Okay, let's do that. So I'm going to write v is equal to u plus plus. Right. This is so plus plus is a unary operator. It will not return anything. So if it will not return anything, what we will do is the following. I'm going to just set x plus plus, and I'm going to set just and y plus plus. So that means the value of this class, the x and y values are both going to be incremented here itself, right? Because that's the idea of plus plus. It has to increment where whichever class that integer value is incremented all the time when we call plus plus. So that's the intuitive meaning. So I want to increment u, and I'm going to, so this operator is actually overloading the plus plus coming before the variable. Okay, so this is plus plus u, and since I have done plus plus u, I can now print u and see what is initially u. Initially u was 3 5, and after this u should be 4 6. Let's see that. X y is used 4 6. Good. So I have now overloaded this plus plus operator. What if I wanted to overload the other operator? Now let's say I want to overload the postfix plus plus. So earlier we used plus plus u. I want to overload the other side. So I can do v plus plus. And for that, the function is called void operator plus plus, and in bracket you have to write int. Okay, so this is the usage for overloading the other increment, the plus plus increment, and then we want to write plus plus int. Again same x plus plus and y plus plus, right? So here now I can use, let's say, z plus plus, and I can write z dot print. I can now compile and run. I'm going to run, compile, and I'm going to run. See, z is become 1 comma 6. Let's just check whether this would have worked if I'm going to compile this. So let me do the following. I'm going to the z plus plus operator. I'm going to, which one should I do? Z plus plus is there, and I'm only going to allow the first one. I'm going to comment this. Will this work? Let's do that. Yeah, it's saying that z plus plus is not allowed because that operator is not allowed now. So let's get back. Right, we can now use both the operators, but we might sometimes want it to return a vector, right, rather than void, so that we can use it with equal to. So I can write vector, and then I can have vector here, and then I can return let me just create a vector here, p with x comma y, and I just return that. So now if I do that, I can then do things like this. T is equal to plus plus u. I can now, because now plus plus u is returning something. Let's compile that and see. It's good. It's working. So I can have a t dot print. Yeah. So t dot print is also 4 6. Right? Because it has now incremented and adjusted. Okay. So this is what we have seen now is operator overloading. You can there are many other operators you can overload. You can overload the dot operator, for example. You can overload the star operator. You can overload the new delete operators, etc. Please try out all these things. Just Google, search for other kind of operators you can overload. Try out all these things. It's fun to overload and see how it works. Okay, thank you.